Hello and welcome to the far distant future of 324 AG, or Aftermath of the Gap. Join our intrepid crew of heroes, mixed of mercenaries, scholars, and mystics, as they travel through the stars on their journey. This is Tavern Watch Plays Starfinder.
Well, hello everyone. First off, I want to get my players to introduce their characters to y'all. I'm going to start with Joe Perez. Joe, who are you playing?
Hi, I'm playing Jarl. I'm a Panthera Mystic, also known as the Healer.
Also known as the Kitty.
Yep. Think Hank McCoy, but I'm fluffy.
I'm thinking of the character from Lower Decks, but I know you haven't seen it.
I've never seen it. I have never seen
watch
it.
That because man, you'll get ideas. Liz, your character?
I am Tazelle, a fluffy lavender creature with 6 arms, and she's wearing bright blue leg warmers, and she appears to be unarmed, just hanging out.
Van side of 80s. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah.
Joan?
If she had a van, it would have like a unicorn
and her riding it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Joan.
I'm playing Tiktikadar. She's a Prismeni Skittermander, so her fur is kind of a little bit rainbowish on the tips, and she's a witch warper. She really loves to help people, and she really loves traveling.
All right, and Chris?
Hey, so I am playing Vikesh Clatonbane. He's a big, he's a Vesk, so he's a big lizard man, orange and black scales, does not wear armor, carries big guns, really dumb. Think of Jane from Firefly.
Okay. I was actually thinking of Jesse Ventura from Predator, but I guess that'll work too.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura from Predator works too.
Alrighty, so anybody with any kind of medical skill, I need you to roll a check for me. Just let me know what you get.
Is this if we're trained in medicine?
If you've got the specific skill, if you would consider yourself in any way, shape, or form a doctor or healer.
No.
Okay.
All right, I've got some, but it's not logging me into my character yet, so let's poke it a minute.
Well, I rolled an 8 on my die, which means I have a 21.
Okay. That's sufficient. The captain is dead. Their chest is completely missing, which means this wasn't a particularly difficult check. But you never know with humans. They might be able to keep breathing through having their entire chest blown open. You haven't yet figured out why humans are so dominant in the galaxy when they seem to be so fragile. There's got to be something, right? Anyway, no, she's dead. Stone dead. Real dead. Just completely not breathing or alive. Also, the ship is currently... There's smoke inside the cockpit here, and the other ships hold on. Go ahead and everybody who wants to, you pick a skill you think would help you see something happening really fast, and you let me know what it is and how you're doing it. Let's start with our giant Vesk friend. It's fine if you fail this roll. Things will happen regardless. Just, I want to see what you come up with.
I am going to survival roll.
Okay.
Let's see. It is a 12.
All right. And that's total or just that's what you're doing dice?
It was a 2 and I got a plus 10 to survival.
All right. Alrighty, cool. Does anybody else want to try to go higher than that, or are you going to just take his roll?
Are we in a cockpit or a bridge of a ship or something like that?
This ship, they call it the cockpit. The captain explained to me repeatedly that it wasn't good enough to be called a bridge.
Okay. Could I roll piloting to check the controls to see, where we are? Are we about to fly into the sun, or just see what's going on?
That'd be great.
This may not be what we're looking for.
Go ahead.
So while that's being rolled, I have electromagnetic senses that allow me to detect nearby living or technological creatures. I have to use the CCAT. It doesn't specify how nearby. Okay.
These things, you could sense anything within the cockpit for sure, and possibly within the ship, but the idea that you will be able to sense much of anything, considering the distances involved.
15 feet. 15 feet.
Yeah, you're getting the cockpit. That's what you're getting with that. which
Okay.
I'm fine with letting you do. Just letting you know that's what it's going to be.
Yep, that's fine.
Are you using it?
Yes.
Go for it. Do you have a check to make, or you just sense things?
I make a seek action. So as long as I just have to make a seek action, and I can basically ping.
Alrighty. So first off, then we're going to go with Liz's character, and I'm sorry I can't remember your names. I should have definitely learned them before now, but I didn't. I'm sorry. So yeah, Liz, you're up first.
That's a 16 on piloting.
Okay. First up, the piloting controls, the stick and the yaw and so forth. The ship is somewhat. It's not primitive. All the technology is brand new and up to date. It's just designed in a way that it would be piloted more directly than most starships. Instead of having an AI do most of the work, the ship is piloted literally by hand. It's like a fly-by-wire aircraft. The next thing to keep in mind.
Cool.
The next thing to keep in mind is that the ship is intact as far as controls seem to be, concerned.
That's good.
They work. Also, you're definitely not heading into a sun. You are heading directly into a planet's atmosphere, however, and the hull is beginning to heat up.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's
the
bad.
hull is beginning to heat up because the ship is literally pointed into the gravity well of the planet and is going at full thrust. However, even at full thrust, it will still take about 50 seconds to hit the planet itself. You have about 50 seconds to get it to stop doing that. Finally,
yes, I wanted to stop doing that.
Finally, there are 317 ships chasing you and firing at you. They're smaller than your ship, and you've never seen anything like them before. They are not like any technology from the other settled systems or anything. They're completely new and alien to you. And in fact, we now crawl over to Joe's character. I know I saw you put your names in there, but I was actually reading something up there, so I couldn't get down fast enough. But Jarl, you actually sense this because it enters your range just as you're pinging. They're firing jacketed iron molecules. They're literally firing little pieces of iron, molecule-sized chunks of iron at relativistic speeds. And that's what you feel penetrates the shields and the hull and is in your line of sense for a second, and then it is literally going out the other direction. It just blasts through the hull.
Well, that is unfortunate. We need to get out of here now. Which one of you can fly?
Me. I'm going to try and take the controls, and wow, I have never seen a ship like this. I mean, I have seen like in history
Focus.
books and
Fly, or we're gonna die.
Okay. I think this. Okay, and I'm gonna, try and pull us out of this death spiral into the planet, and maybe try and get us into orbit and go around it.
I unceremoniously dumped the captain's body out of the seat.
She was already out of the seat because
the
blast that came through and hit her in the chest and turned it into that knocked her a good 5 feet away from the controls. So you don't have to dump her. But I mean, I'm going to let you dump her if you want to because, cats are cats. So if you wanted to go pick her up and then just dump her anyway, that's fine. Meanwhile, Liz, make me another piloting check.
Okay. I'm rolling really badly. 18.
18? All right.
18.
The first thing you notice is that there's an incredibly easy tactile feedback system for controlling the ship's pitch. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is pull back on it.
Oh.
And when you pull back on it, it starts nosing up almost immediately. And the ship's got a surprising amount of thrust. You are shocked that it, in fact, wasn't at full thrust. It was at 1/4 thrust.
Oh.
Now you're at full thrust. However, because you didn't really know that when you grab the what some pilots would call the stick, when you grab it and pull back, there's a thing on the right side that your hand closes on, and that's the throttle. And you are now you've increased the ship's throttle considerably. Thrusts are on full as you are pulling up. Several dozen of the little ship-like things are hitting the atmosphere and burning up almost immediately.
That works so much better than I thought.
The downside is that now they're going to fire at you. I'm going to be using your piloting check.
Okay.
As essentially, it's a bonus to your armor class. The system for the flight, people listening to this, since we're doing this with the new Starfinder rules, they don't have the rules for space combat in yet. So I'm having to use the old rules for space combat. And those are kind of wonky, so we're going to see what happens. But okay, yep. What we need is there anybody in here who has any kind of weapons systems abilities?
I control big guns.
Okay. Does anybody here think they would work
computers.
well? Okay, that would be a possible candidate for running the sensors. Does anybody here think that they could run the shields?
The only thing I have even remotely close to anything like that is I have computers. I have a relatively decent one, and I'm trained in it.
Okay, I am going to say that either Jarl or the other Skittermander, I'm sorry, there's just so many names.
Tick can do it.
Yeah, Tick or Jarl could run either the shields or the sensors probably about as well, because neither of them are really, that's not the thing they mainly do. They're mostly medical types, but nevertheless, those are the systems they could probably run. Vakesh is going to be doing the guns, and Tanziel is piloting. So everybody's, Tanziel's already made her roll. The rest of you make the proper roll, and I'm going to add that to what the attacks have to deal with. So let me know what you get.
All right, John, which one do you want? Do you want to do?
That'll help. Quite frankly,
do you want to do sensors or do you want to do shields?
I'll do shields. I've got a 25.
Wow.
That's nice. What do you think you did?
I powered them up and focused them in the direction where most of the damage is going to come from.
Okay. Next up is Vakesh. What do you do, Vakesh?
I had a question for you on that, actually. Do you want me just to roll with my primary weapon, seeing it's a gun?
I'm going to assume that you're basically rolling an attack. You're using this ship's interface to attempt to attack using its weapons.
All right.
But you're basically just making an attack roll. If you don't roll very well, you probably miss. But it's also possible that you could roll well and just not know what gun you're using, because it does have more than one.
Sure. 19.
19, alrighty. Finally, Jarl.
I got a 26 on my check. I basically think I pseudo jack into the sensors. Like, it's like that scene in Rescue Rangers where Monterey Jack smells cheese and his whiskers go all wiry and stuff like that. I basically just either chomp down or stick my claw inside of one of the ports and just I become temporarily one with the sensors.
See, I just imagined you as Raul Julia in Overdrawn at the Memory Bank screaming, "I am interfaced!" But you probably, also, if you don't know that,
also acceptable.
But regardless, okay. First up, as the ship is pulling out of its death spiral, there is a moment where the ship takes some hits. It loses about 12 hull from various parts. However, Vakesh manages to fire the main gun, which is a very powerful weapon, surprisingly powerful on a ship this small, and making you guys think that the captain that you hired to get you to this planet was in fact a smuggler, because the gun is ridiculous. The recoil, it literally says in archaic old human letters, you think it says B something. You're not the other two you don't know, but you're pretty sure the first one's a B. You're like, yeah, isn't that one of those B's that they have? They love that letter. They put B on everything. Do they really? I don't know. But
I think it's like a small insect.
Yeah, it explodes. There's suddenly a massive burst of what is raw arcane power and not any kind of science weapon. This thing is it's a wand of magic missiles, the size of a Gatling gun. That is, as you're looking at it, you see there are 20 wands of magic missiles in this thing, and they all go off at once, and they're each being cast at a higher level than start. They're if anybody here has real magical knowledge, I think we only have the Witch Warper. That person might be able to determine exactly what's happening, but all of you can tell that it is going.
Got a 30
off.
On that.
Okay. Did you roll anything, Joe?
I was going to say I am trained in Arcana, but I don't think I'm going to do better than a 30.
Okay.
I got close, so but I can't do better than
I got a 27.
Yeah. Everybody, basically, if you got above a 20, what you know is that this thing it's got banks of what are effectively wands of magic missile. They're not wands. they're metal tubes, but it's the same basic principle. And they're all about, there's like 4 of them in like a, they what they're doing is what used to be called the Valtamar Death Blossom, because they're firing in every direction. And since magic missiles cannot miss and can only be stopped by force, the little pod things are getting destroyed. Like, it's just everything around the ship is like boom, 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 boom. That's the good news. The bad news is that's when there's a sudden lurch, and it occurs to you guys. And in fact, Yarel knows immediately at looking at the sensors and, you know, being interfaced and all, this ship is going down because the engines just went away. You still have the landing thrusters, and you currently still have control of your attitude, so you can push all the thrust below and land, but flying anywhere else is not likely right now. Someone would need to go downstairs and ascertain the damage, but Jarl, he does not think it looks good down there.
Oh, we're landing. We're landing. That's what's happening. Okay. We're gonna do this.
You can do it. You can do it.
It takes about an hour to get the ship down because you can't just fly into the planet's atmosphere at full speed because you don't have engines anymore. And you can't take the heat of a direct if you go straight into the atmosphere, the heat will burn the ship up. You have to go into the atmosphere at an angle. So it takes you an hour to get down. And you can't really decide where you're going to land. You have to take the first relatively large parcel of land you can find, because you're running on thrusters, which means that you are basically just falling in an extremely controlled way. This is like tripping and falling down the stairs. But you have an elastic on yourself, so it's holding you. You're not flying down the stairs, but you're definitely falling. It's like bungeeing, except at the end, you're not going to just go back up. You're going to just stop there. So yeah, you do. In fact, it is a very good thing that Tick said about bracing for impact, although you have to wait an hour to brace for the impact. So for like 59 minutes, you're just quietly watching as this incredibly excitable Scattermander tries desperately to pilot this thing down, like her paws just gripping everything as tightly as possible. And since she has 6 paws plus the 200 feet, she's got a lot to grab with. So she's just grabbing and pushing and doing all this stuff. Then the ship finally, there's this long moment where you're like hovering above, like about 150 feet above the ground, and then 100 feet above the ground, and then 90 feet above the ground, and then 45 feet above the ground. And you're like, whoa, why did we go from 90 to 45? Oh, because for a second, Taziel forgot to keep the thrusters going. But we're good. And you land.
That was so exciting. That was the most landing I've ever done. That was great.
Right now, the other side from you guys talking, there's the dead captain and some other dead guy you didn't even know. Like, you don't know who that guy was. He's wearing a uniform like the captain, so you assume that they were in the same organization.
Can I tell what killed them?
It doesn't really take a lot to tell what killed them, because you're pretty sure it was jacketed iron molecules fired at relativistic speeds, based on the fact that they both have massive wounds. Like, her chest is completely gone, and his head...
So it came through the hull already in.
Yeah. Like, the weapons they were firing could completely ignore the shields, and did ridiculous amounts of... They did so much damage that they just blew right through the hull, so they didn't do a lot of structural damage. Like, the hull was still mostly intact. It was just this tiny little piece of it was gone. But when it hit something made out of meat, all the water and liquids and, semi-solid things compressed from the impact and then just went boosh. It'd be like shooting a BB gun into a watermelon if the BB gun fired bullets at like 5,000 Celsius.
Well, they're dead.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, we should probably not be on the ship for very much longer. If we're getting fired at, they're probably going to want to come down and check the ship. So,
do you think I can take the gun?
What's up, big guy?
Can I take the gun off the ship? Carry with us.
You sure can try.
I can help. I'm strong, you guys. I can definitely help with this.
Yeah, we can help.
As that's going on, I'm just muttering to myself, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I signed up for. While they're doing that, if the assumption is that these were smugglers, I'm going to go look for the smuggling hold.
Okay, that's certainly something you can do. Is everybody going with, I keep want to say Vakesh, but it's Jarl. Is everyone going with Jarl? Is Jarl going off by themselves?
Ooh, I'm torn. Who should I help? Ah!
I can help with the gun. You go help there.
Okay, I'll go with Jarl.
Okay. So the Skittermanders have split up, so all the chaos isn't contained in one place, but is in two different places at the same time. That's great. We're gonna go first with Jarl and Taziel, and then we'll come back to your guys' efforts to take the guns off the ship. So you head out of the cockpit, and there's immediately like a small domed room on the other side of the main cockpit door, and there's a hole in the floor with a ladder. That's how you get down to the main floor, because the cockpit is up above everything.
Sure.
Probably one of the reasons that it lasted as long as it did during that fight. So you're heading down?
Yeah, I'll slide down.
Alrighty. When you get down, the first thing you smell is meat. Like someone had a barbecue or something. And then you look down and you see all the dead crew members, various, there's a couple of dead Skittermanders actually. There's an android that's been turned into purple stains along the place. A couple of those bug people, the ones that can like read minds with their bug tentacles. And there's one of one Vesk, one of Akesh's people. He looked like he was like some kind of bosun or something. They're all dead, and the walls have lots of little holes in them down here.
Oh no.
I guess I'll do my first obligation and make sure that they are actually all dead.
They certainly seem it. I'm not even going to make you roll. There's like almost no way they could be alive.
Okay. Just making sure that there wasn't
too much mess for them not to be dead.
You'd be surprised.
It's just feasible that the Vesk might be alive, but when you check, the Vesk's blood is completely removed from their body at this point.
Yep.
They bled out.
The bag is empty. We're good. All right, they're all dead. Carrying on. Like I seem completely unbothered by the dead bodies. Like it is just a thing.
Giselle is kind of like tiptoeing around everyone as best she can. You have no idea how hard it is to get blood out of fur.
He just stops and looks at you. Really?
He's completely covered in fur.
Really? I, the medical officer, the doctor, have no idea how hard that is. What is with you, bugs? And I just turn around and keep going. All right, so I think this is wind up being a seek, or you tell me when the thing happens.
You can go ahead and make a seek if you want right now.
Okay, that is a perception, so that's a 26.
Okay. The first thing that occurs to you is that you didn't actually look at the bodies to see if they had any valuables. You go back, get yourself about 117 credits, various little credit chits, and combine all that into one stick, and you're good. There are guns, but those guns aren't particularly interesting or important. They're not better than anybody else's. But you could sell them somewhere if you felt like carrying them. So there's like 3 or 4 sidearms, and there is, however, it looks like either it's a big crystalline egg or a bigger crystalline eye. And the Vesk had it.
All right, we'll take that.
And that's basically it for this room. As you go out of this room and into the next one, the ship is laid out kind of like it's basically like a T. Like there's this long body, and then there's like 2 branches that go off from the back. And then there's the cockpit, which is actually above the body. Hence the thing. As you head down this corridor, there are various smaller like little units where there's rooms. Like there looks to be a bunch of sleeping berths on this level. And there's a bunch of stuff like there's like netting with like stuff stored in it. There's like bunk beds and also hammocks to make sure everybody here had a place to sleep. And they don't do hot bunking apparently. There look to be like about 7 crew members total with all the dead and the 2 dead upstairs. And there's 10 bunks, including the 3 hammocks. So they went out of their way to make sure they had enough space for people to sleep without having to share a bunk. As you get further down the hallway, you don't really find anything else of note. Like there's an old helmet. There's some recorded media that's currently playing on loop. And you don't know what's going on in the video. But it's apparently one of those really weird kind of humans with pointy ears talking about trees and woods and forests and just trying to be you think he's trying to be soothing about it. He just comes off as a little pretentious, but he's whispering. He's like, and the happy tree. Look at the happy tree. and you think he's smearing some kind of goop on something. You don't know why he's doing that. It's all different colors though, so you think he might be trying to make some kind of image with it, but you're not 100% sure on that.
Giselle is mesmerized.
Yeah. As you stare, he like comes to the blue part of the flat thing he's dealing with, and suddenly he puts white things there and goes, fluffy clouds, fluffy clouds.
Clouds are fluffy. Ah.
Meanwhile, Jarl, you reach what is the section where the engine control is, and you look in there, and there's nobody in there. There's like a stain on the ground going off in a direction, but there's no living people that you can see or even bodies.
I guess
going in there, you're gonna go somewhere else. There's like 3 other chambers you could go.
I mean, we got to check where do I think the most likely spot for a hidden cache would be?
Either in its own isolated pocket. They would like basically build it into a regular cargo space. They'd build a shielded area, or in basically the engineering area, because the engines and the power generators would interfere with scans.
I think I'm going to check there. I'm going to make my way to that.
Okay. Heading into the engine room. Go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
Could I use my knowledge of ships to look for anything unusual?
Yes, you could. I think that's a seek action as well, right?
I have no idea.
It is.
Joe,
I just have piloting and I have drift lore, but drift lore probably is not going to affect ship knowledge.
Yeah, the seek action, you'd basically use perception, or if you have a relevant knowledge skill or survival.
Yeah, so you can use your piloting or perception if it's better.
That's an 18.
Okay. Between the two of you, it's not very hard for you guys to find. Actually, the trail of blood was a nice clue. It occurred to you as you were following it that the trail of blood does not lead in the direction you're going; it's leading from the direction you're going. You are effectively following one of those dead people's blood back to this place where they first got injured. When you get there, this would have been extremely difficult to find if somebody hadn't bled all over it. But there is definitely a concealed cargo cockpit, a concealed cargo area just underneath actual cargo containers. A few seconds of relatively, it's hidden well. It's not secured well. Like it is not difficult to open. It's like they were counting on the fact that nobody knew it was there. Essentially, inside it, there's a body.
All right, I immediately investigate the body because, well,
it's you, because it opens its eyes and looks at you, and it's Jarl, and you go in your own face.
Did not expect this.
Oh, you don't see it.
Oh.
You see Jarl go down, you see Jarl drop down in there, and then you hear the yelling noise.
I'm gonna drop down and follow.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Incredibly bouncy Skittermander turns its opinion to you and goes.
Also, I have dark vision, so if it's dark,
I also have dark vision. Yeah.
Okay.
I figured Cat and Skittermander, you guys can see fine. There's something there. Each of you sees yourself.
How far away is it? How far away from me is it?
It was on the floor. You walked over to it. This is a small area. It's at most 10 by 10.
So I'm right on top of it?
Basically, yes.
Cool. I reach out and touch it with a shock pad.
Okay. Is that attack?
It is.
Oh, make that roll.
17.
Okay. Would 17 hit you? I mean, it's you.
No, it does not hit me.
Okay. Then you miss you.
Okay. I have no idea what the hell's going on here.
So I see myself?
Yeah, and he just tried to shock you. Well, not you. He didn't shock
another me.
You. He shocked the you that's standing in front of him screaming at you guys.
Well, maybe I would scream at that. I can. Okay. Can we work this out? Do you want to talk? We could talk. Do you need something? What's going on?
Is that your action?
Who are you saying that to?
I'm to the screaming thing. Hey, calm down. We can figure this out. Are you okay?
I'm waiting to see what happens, because very clearly I missed, and this thing is just me, and I'm just staring at it like my ears are twitching at this point.
Okay. We're gonna cut to the bridge. As those two are attempting to dismantle the weapon system. To actually physically remove the weapons from the ship, you would require tools that are not on the bridge. And you'd also have to leave the bridge because the weapons are not mounted to the bridge. They are mounted to the underside of the ship. You would then also have to figure out a power supply for them because they usually run on ship power, which you aren't ships. So
Right.
ship power is probably at least partially magical because those are magical weapons, but you're not sure how the magic is transported. You don't know if you have no idea if they can be fired without being on the ship. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. You don't know.
So what you're saying is
we
probably
gotta
not
find
going to
tools.
happen.
Where's the tool?
I don't mind you trying to do it. I'm just telling you that you can't do it from the bridge. It's like you're literally, it'd be like, hey, I want to get that weather vane off my house. I'm going to sit here in my living room and figure out a way to do it. It's like, you can't, it's on the roof. You'd have to be on the roof. That's where the weather vane is. Similarly, the 3 really massive magic missile guns are on the hull of the ship in different parts of the ship. They're not even like in the same spot. You'd need to go to each individual spot to pull each individual massive magic missile guns off of the ship.
What are their dimensions? Can we see from here?
They're about as big as Vakesh. Like each one is as big as Vakesh. Like literally, it would be like he was carrying himself, but made of much denser material and weighing much more than he does.
You still want to try for it, or
once we see their actual size, it is very much a Vakesh has this like massive toothy grin. But the truth of the matter is, he knows he's not going to be able to carry that because it's going to end up being too heavy. So instead, it is very much a, I want to take it, but I don't think it's possible. Instead, let me go get my guns, make sure we're safe. And he starts heading towards wherever he has stored his giant machine gun that he tends to carry.
I mean, is there a reason you're not carrying it on you?
You know what? I probably do have it on me.
Okay. I mean, everybody else, the dead people have guns.
True.
You know, it's not like these people were like, you can't have a gun on a ship. They're like, you feel like these people are borderline pirates. Not actually pirates, but certainly in the piratical sphere of things. Like if we were playing a different game, they might be considered like, scoundrels or Orion smugglers. It's that kind of crowd.
Gotcha. Okay. With that being the case, I think that the proper course of action for Vakesh would be to go and attempt to actually head outside, make sure, check the outside of the ship, make sure that there's not anybody trying to board the ship from the outside, even though we just crashed.
Okay, so you're leaving the bridge?
Yes, leaving the bridge.
I'll
go too. I've got guns in my bag. Here we go.
As you're walking out of the bridge, there's a giant Vosk with a big gun standing there, and it goes, right in your face.
Okay. Hang on one second.
Tic actually sees not a giant Vosk, but a Skittermander with like rainbowy fur.
Ooh.
Cut back to the holding pen. I need saving throws. You can decide your best saving throw, or you can decide your worst saving throw if you want to. I don't know why you would want to, but regardless, need a saving throw. Tell me what you get. This is for both. Tazelia and Jarl.
Oh, okay.
That's a 32.
Okay.
A 32 reflex save.
Okay.
23 will.
Okay. The 23 will is just enough. The reflex save is very much enough. It's very strange for you, Taziel, because you just dodged thoughts. Like something was thinking very hard, and you dodged out of the way of it.
I'm just that fast.
Meanwhile, Jarl, you realize that it's the big crystal egg / eyeball that's literally in your head, and you just barely managed to save for it. Something is pushing into you, trying to take you over.
The one that I grabbed?
Yeah, and it's currently locked in your hands, like as you're fighting it off, keeping it from taking you over. It's in your head now. The whatever it was trying to push its way into your head. It didn't get in, but it didn't get driven out either. Whereas Taziel literally just jumped out of the way of its attempt to influence her. So you now have this thing pushing into your head.
Like physically actually pushing in as well?
No. It's mentally. This is not the end of Diablo. You're holding the thing, but as far as you can tell, whatever was in the thing is now attempting to be inside you.
What happened? So it's in my hand.
That is what you believe, yes.
I guess I'm just going to activate the shock pad since it's already in my hand and my shock pad is the glove.
Okay, I'm going to say go ahead and make an attack. You don't have a very high number to hit because it's in your hand.
Well, I rolled a 16 plus 7, 23.
That would hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
4 electrical damage or lightning bolt damage, whatever that equates to in the system.
It's a lightning bolt. It's electricity. It's fine. You trigger your shock pad, just reflexively trying to do anything you can to keep this thing from getting into you. There's another one of those horrible screams, but this time without any of the flavorings of either of your voices. Like you hear this as a pure scream, not as a scream actually being made by someone's voice. It's just like the thought of just endless screaming. And when you do that, you drop the crystal thing, which skitters to the floor and begins to crack open.
Right. I grab. Well, how big is Tezel?
About 3 feet, about 40 pounds.
Yeah, I literally just grab you and I grab you and we start booking it. Like I'm up and out. We are gone.
How fast are you? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like my instinct is to grab you and start going. I'm a cat.
Okay, that's...
Yeah.
What is my normal movement? It's like whatever 25, 30 feet or whatever it is, whatever the standard human size is.
I think Skittermanders are real fast is what we're getting.
No, they're 25, but I'm 35 because reasons.
Okay.
Well, you can
also,
just take
I
off.
have a jetpack.
Yeah,
I could.
Yeah, Patra, they have speed is 25, and
yes.
Yeah. I mean, technically, I could grab you and go with the jetpack.
Whatever happens, you just literally see me start grabbing you and making for the exit. So if you counter grab me and take off, you counter grab me and we take off.
6 fuzzy arms grab you and what is the friendliest of hugs, and then her back goes whoosh, and now you're flying.
Yes, we fly through the corridors. This is probably quite hilarious if anyone were here to watch us.
In fact, you guys up on the bridge, the things facing you just suddenly it's like watching something that looks solid and real and suddenly turns into an 80s TV, pixelates all over the place and then is just gone.
Oh.
Well, that was weird.
Guess I don't have to waste ammo.
And then you hear and you see coming out of the engine room, which is to the left side as you're facing, you see the other Skittermander, Taziel, holding on to Jarl, both of whom are kind of this. Taziel is straight up 3 feet. Jarl is more like 4.5 feet. Still not huge, but not tiny either. But he's trying to cling on and is actually being clung on to by the multiple arms as Taziel just comes flying out. What do you say to them as you fly past? Because you are heading straight for the exit of the ship.
We are leaving.
You guys see that?
Oh, good hug.
Then you hear coming from the engine room and from around you.
We're leaving.
We should go.
And then you see, as you're leaving, as you are heading past these, the bodies start twitching and standing up, and there are things that look relatively similar to the ships you were fighting, but smaller and more pulsing and oozing, kind of steering their bodies. You can see tendrils going in directions where there isn't body anymore to try and mend the gap enough to get the body to move. And they're going, because that's what they do when you're dead and you start moving again. You make that noise. It's just the law.
You go. I'll take care of this. Vikash just
You come too.
swings his giant machine gun out and moves not to take a stand, but more to make sure everybody else gets off the ship.
So you're backing up?
You're
backing away from them? Gotcha. I've played Fallout. So what do you do now? You attack?
Vibe too.
Not just yet. Not until they start making a move.
Okay, they are making that move. They are walking to you. I should have people doing an initiative. But yeah, this is mostly narrative. We'll just play. Yeah, they are now making their move. They are stepping towards you. They're not at you yet because they still seem to be learning, okay, I can make the leg move like that. Okay, and then the leg can do that. So they aren't coming fast, but they are definitely trying to get to you.
Oh yeah, let's start shooting.
I'm gonna say just because you've got a giant weapon, you just make me one attack roll, and if it's reasonably decent, I'll just we'll deal with it from there.
That would be a 14. That was critical fail.
Is it?
Yeah, I have plus 13 on my machine gun. That was 1.
Okay, it jams.
Awesome.
It's like, oh, no, I should have cleaned you. And now they've gotten like a good 5 feet closer and are continuing. I say they get a meter closer. So yeah, they get a meter closer and they're continuing to move to advance. Do you stand there? Do you run? What do you do?
I am getting out of the getting the hell out of here.
All right. You
Are
guys
there any
hear?
kind of computer terminals between us and them?
Not really. No.
Mm.
Basically, this ship it's surprising in a lot of ways, but it's very much designed to be a lo-fi ship. Like stuff like imps are not going to do a lot of damage to this thing. They might work a little, but no.
Oh, I was thinking a spell.
Yeah, if you were trying to do something like make the computers blow up or make them do anything, there's just nothing in the hallway really. It's these hallways are just for people to sleep in and to get from point A to point B. So assuming you guys all run together, soon you're outside of the ship. For whatever reason, as you get off of the ship, and it's a tropical planet, it's very warm. There's plant life everywhere. They don't seem to follow you off the ship. Like after you regroup, you're all together. And like 15 to 20 minutes of observation, no, nothing is coming off the ship. Why are they not coming off the ship? I don't know, but well, I do, but you don't. But nevertheless, they don't come off the ship.
Maybe we should blow it up.
Stuck here. But if we blow it up and maybe they survive, then maybe they'll be angry.
I think they're already angry.
I don't know what those are. I don't think I do, at least.
You can make a check if you have certain skills where you think you might know what these unknown aliens are.
So the question is, I have Arcana, I have Occult, and I am the Mystic Panthera, so I have that tie with the Drift.
Okay. You could certainly, I would say, either the Drift or any kind of bestiary type knowledge would be useful here.
All right, Drift
I have Drift lore.
If you got Drift lore, then you have a chance to know what these are.
Mine is 28.
You rolled a minus 28?
No, mine is 28.
I was like, how did you do that? I was like, that. I'm actually impressed. That's amazing.
The roll was so high it went negative.
Yeah, like
13.
All right, the 13. What the 13 tells you is they definitely feel like they come from beyond drift space. Like they use drift space the way everybody uses drift space, but you don't think they come from there. You think they come from another existence that touches drift space, because you know that there are places like. However, Jarl, you've heard of parasitic things that your people call the mind ticks, and they're literally like parasites that latch onto recently killed or even still alive people and use their bodies so that they can operate more or less undisturbed in this world.
All right.
Because
I relay that information.
Their natural form is actually allergic to this universe. Like they can't stay in it very long.
So, and I look back at my big beefy friend here, thinking I relay this to everybody. So those are mind ticks. Nasty sort. Bad news is there's a whole lot of dead bodies for them to infest. Good news, they don't have bodies to infest. They can't really stay here long. So, and I turn to the Vikesh. If you could incinerate everything in that ship, it might not be a bad idea.
Like I said, we blow up ship.
We need to make sure that the bodies are completely gone, though.
Things.
As you guys are discussing this, the first of this planet's 2 suns is setting.
That's not good either.
It's like an hour before it will actually be out of sight, but it will become a lot darker when that happens. And that's the thing I forgot to tell you, but I should have. The reason they didn't come out of the ship is that the sunlight is there, and they don't want to be in sunlight. They come from the void. You know, they are creatures of just endless, infinite darkness. They don't like suns.
I relay this to everybody as well. So we could, we might want to leave and deal with this later, but we got like an hour, maybe, I'm guessing.
We should.
How are we getting out of here?
Do we know where we are? I mean, I assume we know what planet we were heading for in the first place.
You were all coming to the planet Astel, and it's not Astel, not Estelle. Estelle is an old lady. Astel was one of the planets that they had back when these systems were being, explored. This planet apparently had an old temple in it that dated back to the previous civilizations, and apparently had a lot of interesting magical and even technological goodies to explore. Each of you is here for whatever reason you want to make up, but generally speaking, you're all here to get a look at the temple city that is on the planet's north continent. And you would have tried to land on the north continent because you wouldn't want to land too far away from where you're trying to go. However, the closest open space you could land in is a solid day and a half's walk from the ship, because the actual temple city is full of big pointy buildings, and you would not be able to land there. At least not. Hope you would basically smash the ship into a mountain full of like spiky buildings. So yeah, you had to go with where you are, but you can probably make it in 2 days. Yeah. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Will these things propagate if they're left alone?
Only if somebody provides them with a new body to propagate into. They can only have one of them in control of a body at a time. So that part you're okay on. But right now it's just the bodies that are in there, and then they can't. Other than those 7 or 8 people, they can't take any more unless they get you guys. Then they could take another 4 bodies. They need to take the body. One of them can be in it. They can't share. You don't know if that's because they won't share or they actually can't, but they never do, as far as Jarl is aware.
Mm.
Right. Leave or deal with this.
I'm just going to take a second while everyone is doing whatever else to kind of stare up at the sun and watch it kind of incrementally move across the sky, and use attunement control to make sure I'm photon attuned.
Okay.
There's sort of a little glimmer of warmth in my fur.
As you do that, you do it successfully. It's not difficult. You do, however, feel there are things that are just plain wrong. They're like drags. If you think of the universe as a tapestry of gravity and the various forces, like the strong and weak nuclear force, electromagnetism, and gravity, all kind of tied together to making existence, the heat and light of the stars, the gravity around you. There's something in that ship that is not any of that.
Something very wrong.
Yep. And it wasn't in the ship until you guys got attacked, because you've been on that ship for like 2 days. And at no point did you sense unfathomable anti-cosmic nonsense of any kind. And that's your gig, so you probably would have.
So I'm going to turn back from staring up at the sky to look at everyone and say, it must be destroyed. Something is wrong with these things. Not just wrong, something trying to attack us. That's wrong, but not more wrong. More wrong. Fundamentally
I don't
wrong.
like more wrong.
Okay.
So, what's going on?
I'm not really good on the whole blowing up things, but I can at least do this, and I'll mosey over to the exit and make sure that the door is shut and cast Adhere on it, where I will bond the door shut to the hull.
Okay. I assume that's something you can do to an inanimate object without it doing anything. You don't. Okay.
I bond 2 objects together, and or I can charge the surface with adhesive magic. So I'm literally going to bond the door to the hull.
Okay. As you guys watch, Jarl walks up. It's very much not the same kind of magic that you do, Tick Tick, but it's definitely magic. You recognize it. Does this gesture, drags 2 claws down the door, and then the door literally grows into the wall. It's like suddenly there is no space between the door and the hull. Like there's no way
really
for the
cool.
door to open because there is no door. There's just hull. You don't know why somebody built a ramp under the hull, but there it is. If you hadn't seen it done, that's what you'd be thinking. Like, this is a really badly designed. Why is there just a staircase coming off of the hull here? But no, you see it happen. It closes up.
We could use the really big gun. We could overload the gun.
That's a thought.
Can it be done from outside?
Oh, we didn't find tools.
Yeah, right now you'd have to go look at the guns to see if you could figure out a way to do it. Right now you're not looking at the guns. You're just standing there. So you're just conjecturing until you actually examine them.
Hey, Matt, do we have an idea what direction the temple is from where we are?
You would have, actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say you would have. Tazel would have known roughly where it was because it was visible, and they were flying the ship, so they had to be able to see. Whether anybody else was looking for it, Taziel would know where it was. It is what on this planet you'd call north, but this planet doesn't seem to have any kind of magnetic field strong enough to generate a north for you to like just use a compass. Physically north, but there's no compass heading for it.
Polar north.
Vikesh is going to go start wandering off towards where the guns are on the other side of the ship.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
follow.
I don't think we
Okay.
should split up, so I'm going to follow.
Okay. So I know Tick was really invested in this whole, getting the guns off the ship thing, or at least now overloading them. So I'm going to say you need to make me an arcane check to see if you can figure out how to overload these things once you get to them.
Alrighty. 25.
Okay. Does anyone else helping in any way? Does anyone have a skill that's complementary?
If it's something I can hack, I'm at least trained in computers, and I have a data jack, which gives me a little more computery thing, but there may not be anything like that. I don't know.
There actually is a diagnostic pod next to every one of the ship weapons, because that's just technology that's used to check them. But go ahead and make a roll. Tell me what you get.
Let's see.
While she's doing that,
16 plus, that's a 17.
Okay, between the, was it 29 you rolled? Tick?
25.
25. Between the 25 and was it 17 or 19? Sorry.
17.
So between the 25 and the 17, okay. Taziel, you figure out that it would be possible to put all three of the weapons into cycling mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's not firing, but it is drawing power. The cycling mode basically pulls power into them, which then is normally discharged through firing. You can't fire from outside of the area with the firing control, but you can put them in cycling mode. At the same time, Tick is noticing that while the command linkage to fire the weapons is basically leads from the bridge down to here, they could be set off if another form of destructive power, be it magic or be it some other form of power, like just a laser or whatever, was used when they hit peak draw. But you'd have to be able to hit at least two of them at once.
Okay.
And the explosions will be basically feedback, which means that they will actually start here but not blow up. They'll propagate back into the ship and detonate the engine core, which means the entire ship is going to explode, and it's going to be big. You would probably have to start running almost immediately after you initiated it in order to get out of range of it in time.
3 words. Minimum safe distance.
Yeah, and you're not sure what the minimum safe distance would be. This is the first time you've ever attempted to do this, so you don't really know exactly how big a kaboom it's going to be. But it's probably going to be a reasonably big kaboom.
How much energy do you need?
The weapons have to be on full draw, which means that they basically have to be making as Tick and Taziel both describe it in their own ways. You get the sense that basically the guns are going to be giving you like a light show. It's going to look like Laser Floyd, and that's the moment where you can do this. It doesn't need to be a lot of energy. It just needs to be energy going. Instead of the thing drawing energy out to these crystals, there needs to be energy being shoved into the crystals from effectively the opposite end. It's like trying to cause. You're literally trying to cause feedback. You don't know what won't, as long as it's not kinetic. Like you can't just shoot it with bullets, but pretty much any form of like direct energy discharge would work.
So
I have something.
I might have stuff to help with that too. So you go first.
We should probably be as far away as we can be, which is for me that's 30 feet, which is not very far. But I mean, I'm going to wait until everyone is at as safe a distance as we can get.
Well, first you have to activate
ready.
them. You have to activate them first to get them into drawing mode, and then you have to watch them.
Oh, so I have to be here to watch them. Okay.
Well, someone has to be, because you don't.
Okay.
You need to know when you can tell. You don't have to be sitting there looking at it going like this, but you need to see that this thing is throwing off as much light as it can. Like you need to be sure it's not getting brighter than this, which means there's a small chance that the crystals will explode before you set them off to feed back into the engine, which doesn't just mean you blew up the crystals, which would still be bad for you, but wouldn't hurt the ship really.
So I have to be close enough to watch the panel.
Anyone would have to be.
Someone has to be.
Yeah.
Like if I'm there and then I call now.
Yeah, that could
Okay.
But again, you don't have to be like right there looking at the panel. You need to be looking at the giant crystalline structures that work as the Gatling gun barrels of these guns.
Okay.
And once those are glowing sufficiently, like you both will know this. Both Tick Tick and Tazi know that these things will be extremely bright and probably making sounds. Although you've never actually heard these things fired in an atmosphere, so you don't know if they make sounds, but they should be.
I don't know.
I will relate this to everyone else.
So
longest range of a weapon we can fire at these that's not projectile.
So I can maybe assist with it. So I don't know if this will be useful because I don't know the gun thing, but I can do kind of a weird void strike. It'll deal a lot of acid damage, and usually the last time I did this, it caused a whole bunch of technology to glitch out. In retro, so I can do a thing called entropy strike, which is does 46 acid damage if it's technological, but also inflicts glitching 2 and stunned 1. Glitching.
So it's void energy?
Yeah.
Then it will cause a feedback loop. It will probably also destroy the computer that controls this thing in the first place, but that doesn't matter. If you do successfully trigger the feedback, then it doesn't matter. You need to get all 3 of these at once.
I mean, this is a ray, so I should be able to do that no problem.
You can get 1 with the ray. There are 3 of these guns. Each of them is a solid 60 yards, like 6 meters. Like the ship is fairly big. It's like the size of a Boeing 747. Imagine you've got a weapon pod up front, a weapon pod right at the midsection of the plane, and a weapon pod on the tail. You would need to get to those 3 areas and hit all 3 of them at the right moment.
So I can solar shot one of them, which is...
I have an artillery laser.
You have a laser?
I can hit one with my entropic destabilizer.
Okay, so you've got 4 people here who can shoot these things in different ways. You need at least 1 person to coordinate this. And when I thought I was going to have more players, there were more cannons. But so yeah, you need someone to coordinate and tell everybody else when to fire, and you all have to fire at the same time. Which means, like, if you were in a rounds of combat, it would be you'd all have to hold and fire at the same turn.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't know if this helps. I have warfare lore, and I rolled a 22 on recall knowledge.
Okay. It wouldn't give you any information you already know.
Okay.
These are common weapons. They're known throughout space. They work quite well. The stuff you're hearing about is more technical than lore. Like you would know what ships they've been installed on and what battles they've been important in and the history of them, but not necessarily how to make them blow up.
Okay.
Okay, so...
In fact, go ahead, Luke.
I was going to say, so if I'm looking at this just correctly, we need 1 person to coordinate, and that seems like it's going to be Tazel, because you are the fastest.
Okay.
Right? And you're going to, you'll be able to see what's going on, coordinate, we can take a blast at the other ones. You're technically fast enough. You're faster than all of us if you take all of your actions to move, by a good considerable margin. So... I think that's the play. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I think that's
logical.
The
Yeah,
Giselle, do you have some way to signal us from a long distance?
Yeah, you need one of those. You hear a human voice, specifically the voice of the captain of the ship, saying,
"What?"
You'll turn around and there's the corpse of the captain, like guts torn out, face messed up. Yeah, you'd really want to be able to target all 3 simultaneously. So yeah, that would make sense. We're going to get off the ship, and we're going to eat you. And then she's not actually there anymore.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Oh, scary.
Well, when in doubt.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
You start hearing pounding sounds on the adhered door, which is now just...
Hurry.
So,
right, let's do the
I'm
thing.
going to say, everybody make a roll to make sure that you get into the right place. Like whatever, like if you've got survival... You can use that if you've got good perception, whatever, to make sure you're standing in the place you need to be to do what you need to do.
Sure. Do that.
Athletics work?
Athletics won't tell you if you're in the right place.
Gotcha.
So
Sorry.
How about Arcana?
I get a crit on perception. So
okay. And you definitely have no trouble.
31.
Which one are you going for?
What? I don't know. Which one should I go for, guys?
Your range is what on it?
30.
So you're not going to want to be too close to the other 2 because you're going to want to literally go as far away from all 3 as you can the second you go. So you need to either be on one of the two ends.
Okay, I'll be on one of the ends then.
Okay. That leaves Vakesh and Tick Tick to pick ones they want. The two remaining are the frontmost and the center under fuselage ones.
23.
I have a range of.
Okay. Which one do you want to be at, Vakesh?
Let's do the center.
Okay. Keep in mind how your normal speed, like 25 feet. That's your speed.
20.
What's your
Oh,
range
God.
on the thing that you're using?
My artillery laser has a 60-foot range.
So you can stand 60
So
feet
I
away
have
from it.
120. So maybe I should take the center.
Yeah,
Okay.
you pretty much that immediately. When you say that, it makes sense to everybody here, even Vakesh. So yeah,
Yep, that works.
You should be targeting the front one. You can be 60 feet away from it and still shoot it. So
Works for me.
okay, and that leaves Taziel at the. You can be at any one of these crystals you want. You just have to be at one you can plug into diagnostically, so you can initiate the cycling command and tell people when it has reached its proper amount. Because if you're linked in, unlike them, they have to make this decision visually, but you have a diagnostic. If the diagnostic will tell you 100%, that's when it should be these things should be fired upon. So as long as you're plugged in properly, good to go.
I'll be at the end.
Okay.
I'll be at the tail.
All right.
Blizzard Watch is made possible due to the generous contributions at patreon.com/blizzardwatch. Your continued support means that this podcast site and community is able to thrive and grow. Blizzard Watch supporters enjoy exclusive benefits like early access to our podcast, a better chance at having your questions answered on our podcast with a queue, and an ads-free site experience. Please join us next time for another episode of Tavern Watch Plays Starfinder.